To get a free refill of his soda, a man tells the waiter it has gone flat. His friend can't help but laugh at him. Annoyed, Danny tosses the bottle over his shoulder. It hits a muscular guy at the next table. Jack immediately points at Danny. Seeing the man's menacing glare, Danny quickly explains it was an accident. The man responds by throwing his burger at him. Seeing his friend humiliated, Jack hatches a mischievous plan for revenge. They walk over to the man's table. They offer to pay his entire bill. As an apology, hearing this generous offer, the man eagerly agrees without question. Then, with straight faces, they go to the counter. They say charge their meal to that table. The cashier is skeptical, so Jack tells her to look at the man's table. Sure enough, the man waves back at them. Convinced, the cashier rings them up. They quickly pack some extra snacks to go. When the man chases out, they're gone. They're already on the highway. Soon, Jack needs to pee badly. He has to use an empty bottle. A cop sees it. Suspects drinking and driving. He signals them to pull over. They insist it's not alcohol in the bottle, but the officer doesn't believe them. He takes a sip to check. The taste instantly contorts his face. Furious, he orders them to get out of his sight. That night, Jack starts dozing off at the wheel. He dreams he's flirting with his crush. Suddenly, a truck speeds toward them. Jack swerves just in time, narrowly avoiding disaster. Shaken awake, he drives straight to his crush Annie's place. He intends to return a suitcase to her. Just the day before, Jack, working as a driver, saw Annie leave a suitcase on the ground. Thinking she forgot it, he smoothly scooped it up and drove away. Two kidnappers behind her were left stunned. Annie's husband had been kidnapped. The suitcase contained the ransom money. To retrieve it, the kidnappers hitch a ride with them. At a diner, a kidnapper calls his boss. He says he has poison ready to kill these two and take the money. He doesn't know they love pranks. They've secretly put ghost peppers in his burger. He takes one bite and collapses from the intense heat. As they laugh at him, he gasps that he has a stomach condition and needs his medicine from his pocket. Danny feeds him a pill from the packet. The kidnapper sees it's the actual poison. He dies moments later. Realizing the trouble they're in, they flee the scene immediately. Soon, they're wanted for suspected murder. Cops screen traffic for their distinctive tin can van, but their van runs out of gas. Jack switches to a small scooter instead, and they accidentally evade the checkpoint. They finally arrive at their destination later, but it's already dark. They have to camp outside for the night. Danny sees Jack has 2 pairs of gloves, but won't share one. Furious, Danny starts a fight with Jack on the spot. A girl removes her shoes, ready to rest, but her shoe slips and lands on the wooden floor. She instantly flinches back, terrified, too frightened to reach down and retrieve it. A horrifying presence hides beneath her floorboards. A sudden, violent tremor makes her pull her blanket completely over her head. Then, sharp, grating sounds start from under the floor. The strange sounds ignite her curiosity. Summoning her courage, she peeks out from the covers. She begins to secretly watch the floor below. Yet strangely, the moment she turns away, a gaping hole appears in the wooden planks. Wanting to see what's hiding inside, she quickly switches on her bedside lamp. Just as she prepares to investigate further, something dreadful happens. A massive, sharp thong suddenly thrusts upward. It skewers a fallen piece of candy on the floor and drags it into the darkness below. A horrible, wet chewing sound reaches her ears, making her tremble uncontrollably. While the girl stares, utterly bewildered, the monster suddenly spits the candy back out. It smashes directly into her lamp. Now utterly terrified, she uses her blanket to cover the hole, but in the very next instant, the creature beneath the floor yanks the blanket down, too. This terrifying sight sends chills down her spine. She scrambles with all her might to get away. She attempts to climb onto a dresser to escape, but the bed is violently shoved aside, ruining any chance of fleeing. Helplessly, she thrashes about on the bed, fearful of being flung to the floor. As the monster's assault intensifies, the panicked girl clutches the bed frame tightly to keep from falling, but to her absolute horror, the monster flies into a rage, smashing through the floorboards beneath her. She holds onto the headboard for dear life, and narrowly avoids being pulled down. When she wakes the next morning, she's stunned to find her room intact. Everything looks perfectly normal and undisturbed. There's no trace of damage at all. Even her shoes are neatly arranged by the bed. At first, she's convinced it was all a bad dream, but Annie completely misses the damage on her lamp. The frightening ordeal from last night still lingers. She's too afraid to set foot directly on the floor, so she rides her toy car into her parents' room. Opening the door, she finds, to her horror, her parents missing. The room shows clear signs of a struggle. Realizing last night might have been real, she fears the monster took her parents. Determined to get revenge for them, she remembers Jack, who can kill monsters. So, Annie takes her entire life savings to find him. $300 is everything she has. Seeing the pitiful little girl, Jack's heart goes out to her. He agrees to follow Annie back to her house. A spoiled rich woman complains about the food. She bullies the waiter relentlessly, flaunting her wealth. The waiter dumps the entire plate over her head in response. The other guests watch in stunned silence, but this woman is notoriously difficult. Her husband tries to speak up, but the waiter threatens to deal with him, too. Then, to everyone's shock, he pushes the woman off the yacht. Just as he feels a thrill, a snap of fingers jolts him back to reality. It was all just his fantasy. These scenes existed only in his mind. Though he's cursed her endlessly, he takes the plate back to the kitchen. He wishes she'd vanish every second. Since boarding, she's acted superior to everyone. She demanded gym equipment. He brought a simple version. She cursed him out. He offered a jump rope instead, turning her face green with rage. She joked about strangling the captain. Now she complains the food is bland. The chef intentionally used no salt, but she's a VIP. Even the captain forces a smile. Watching the captain's constant flattery, the waiter grinds his teeth in anger. One day, she wakes up and causes trouble. Her husband went fishing without her, so she forces him to chase the boat. He warns a typhoon might be coming. She refuses to listen. Reluctantly, he starts the engine. Midway, the motor dies. It won't restart. She starts yelling immediately. Annoyed, he lies down and waits for rescue. Later, she shivers from the cold. He kindly offers his jacket for warmth. She refuses, saying it smells. Night falls with no rescue in sight. They endure the night until morning. The waiter knows waiting is hopeless. He takes out his pocket knife to fix the motor. His hand slips, and the knife falls into the sea. He dives in to retrieve it. The splash wakes the sleeping woman. She launches into a tirade. She rants while rummaging, yelling about the lack of a satellite phone. Suddenly, she finds a flare gun. He yells at her not to touch it. Flare signals are most visible at night. She just tosses the gun aside, ignoring him. She won't listen to reason. Soon, she complains of hunger. He spends 3 hours snorkeling on the surface, finally catching a small fish. He cleans it skillfully, and offers the fillet to her. She licks it once, then throws it away in disgust. This infuriates him. She remains arrogant and unapologetic. She still dreams of an imminent rescue. Believe it or not, a ship appears on the horizon. She quickly grabs the flare gun, but she doesn't know how to use it. He tries to take it from her. They struggle, and a misfire punctures the dinghy. Making matters worse, a storm hits them that night. By sheer luck, they survive until morning. They spot a deserted island nearby. Ashore, she resumes her haughty attitude. A fairy touches a human boy for the very first time. A ring on his finger unexpectedly burns her delicate skin. The boy immediately apologizes with concern, and hurls the offending ring far into the distance. Charmed by his flustered sincerity, she bursts into laughter. She then allows him to tentatively stroke her shimmering wings. From that day, they meet often in the magical forest to play and talk. But as the days turn into weeks, their innocent friendship quietly deepens into something more. After he gives her a simple, handmade necklace, she finds her heart secretly opening to this human boy. On the day she turns 16, he leans in and softly kisses her. He tells her it is a true love's kiss. Yet, to her dismay, he vanishes without a trace soon after. Years slip by without a single word from him. The fairy wanders the lonely forest paths each day, haunted by cherished memories of their time together. Then, one fateful day, the boy, now grown into a man, suddenly reappears. This sudden, unexpected reunion washes away her long-held sadness. Cloaked in darkness, they cling to each other, reunited at last. But then, he offers her a goblet containing a sleeping draught. Once she drinks it, she sinks into a deep, enchanted slumber. He draws a sharp, cruel dagger from his cloak. By the time the fairy finally stirs awake, he has already fled the scene. She is horrified to find her beautiful wings have been savagely severed. Understanding the depth of his betrayal, she wails in heartbroken agony. In that moment, her heart is pierced by the blade of his treachery. Her devastated sobs echo through the silent, magical woods. The man, lingering not far away, hears her pained cries. The callous betrayer simply turns and hurries away, never looking back. He hastens back to the king's palace, and tosses the bloody wings onto the king's own bed. The king jolts awake, furious and bewildered, demanding to know the meaning of this. The man proudly unfurls the magnificent wings, boasting that he has killed the fairy to fulfill the king's revenge. The king is immensely pleased, and commends him for his ruthless success. True to his prior oath, he names the man his rightful heir. Meanwhile, the grievously wounded fairy is too weak to even stand. With immense effort, she picks up a fallen, dry branch. Whispering a faint spell, she transforms the wood into a sturdy crutch. This allows her to take slow, painful steps forward. She is tormented, unable to comprehend why he would hurt her so deeply. She retreats completely into her own sorrow, trapped in an unending cycle of anguish and confusion. A woman removes her shirt in -20°C cold. Then, she takes off her pants. Only underwear and shoes remain. She strides into the freezing river, but the water is unbearably cold. Within a minute, her muscles cramp violently. She turns and scrambles back to shore. Yet, she remains undeterred. Spotting a stack of logs nearby, she selects a suitable size and pushes it into the lake. Gritting her teeth, she re-enters the icy water. Using the log for buoyancy, she manages to float. Reaching the center, she locates her spot, takes a deep breath, and dives straight to the bottom. She takes this risk because a crashed airplane lies at the bottom. Annie is the sole survivor of that crash. Her only hope is to re-enter that plane and find the captain's satellite phone. It's her only chance for rescue, but she finds no phone after a quick search. Her lungs are screaming for air. Desperate, she grabs 2 backpacks at random and kicks to the surface with her last strength. As she heads back to shore, a deep animal growl echoes around her. Looking up, she sees a massive brown bear. It has already eaten her only food supply. Though Annie yells in frustration, the bear ignores her, enjoying its meal. It even leaves a pile of droppings before lumbering off. Once back on solid ground, Annie hurriedly checks the backpack's contents. Most items are waterlogged and ruined. Any electronic devices refuse to turn on. Luckily, Luckily, the second backpack was tightly sealed, but it contains only stacks of cash, worthless here. What uses money in the middle of nowhere? Now, she's desperately thirsty and hungry. She finds a pill bottle to collect river water, but out here in the wild, stagnant water is likely full of bacteria. Just as despair begins to overwhelm her, a clever idea flashes in her mind. She finds a pair of eyeglasses, and focuses sunlight through a lens onto the cash. To her delight, it works. The money quickly catches fire under the intense beam. Annie feels a surge of pride in her resourcefulness. Next, she finds a piece of wreckage, using it as a pot to boil water over the fire. After a short while, the water in her improvised pot finally boils. With her immediate thirst satisfied, the pressing issue of finding food remains. Once again, Annie's resourcefulness kicks in. She bends an earring into a makeshift fishhook, attaching it to a stick with a thread. In minutes, she has crafted a rudimentary fishing rod, but her plan seems wildly optimistic. She fishes for over an hour without a single tug. Weak and exhausted, she can't wait any longer. Frustrated, she throws the rod into the water. With no other choice, Annie heads into the woods on foot to forage.